Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Research Spotlight. Is there some kind of feedback? Okay, let's continue. So this is the show where we get to meet and interact with researchers across the globe. My name is Tisha, as you know, and today's conversation is with Mr. Albert Owusu Kwarteng, a PhD researcher and graduate research assistant at the University of Idaho. Idaho, okay. In America, he holds a master's degree in plant sciences from Université Paris-Saclay, French. Yeah, in France, and a BSc in agricultural biotechnology from KNUS, Kumasi, Ghana. His research work is focused on understanding how epigenetic memory helps wheat to adapt to weed stress. Very interesting topic. And he is an expert in plant genetics and breeding, plant molecular biology, plant biotechnology, plant psychology, and plant epigenetics.
Plant physiology.
And plant physiology.
Yes, it's not plant psychology.
Sorry, physiology, yeah. Thank you. And he is also a member of the West African Network for the Promotion of Neglected and Underutilized Species, right? And above all, he is a disciple, a product of Kumasi Anglican Senior High School, which I'm so proud of. Yeah, so great to have you here, Mr. Owusu Kwarteng.
Yeah, nice having me.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great by God's grace. How about you yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. It's midday at your end. Hope you've had lunch.
I had a morning breakfast today with my church members, so it was kind of heavy. So for the moment, it's enough for me.
Yeah, it's enough to carry you through, right? Yeah. Anyway, so why plant science?
So basically, I got into plant sciences because I love plants. You know, I was born in a village, in a typical remote village in the Ashanti region. It is on the outskirts of Tepa, which is just on the periphery of the Hafano North district. And my grandmom was the one who took care of me because my mom was schooling at the time. And then we used to go to the farm a lot, right from a young age. So I came to love agriculture, even though at that time I saw it as a chore because like my grandma was forcing me to go there. But I came to love agriculture because during the harvest time, I was always happy. So then I decided to go into plant science. At that stage, when I decided to go into it and then study agriculture, my love for it wasn't really strong. It was just that it was something that I knew. So I thought maybe I would feel comfortable with it. That was it. But my love grew later on. That is around 2012. I'll talk about it later on when I'm sharing my slides with you. I'll talk about it. That's when my love grew because I knew that there was a serious problem to solve. And that motivated me to get into it. I'll share that aspect of it with you because there's a dire situation if that is going to happen to posterity if you do not focus on the improved agricultural research. And I'm going to show it with slides and the facts and figures with you, and then you would really appreciate it. But I think I owe it to my grandma. I always say I owe it to my grandma. And even after this program, I'll call her and then thank her again for the path that she put me on. It just really helped me. So that's how come I came to love agriculture.
Wow, that's interesting. You just mentioned that you owe it to your grandma. Can you tell us a bit about that? What really happened? I mean, growing up with your grandmother, how was it like?
Yeah, basically, my mom loved schooling. My mom didn't like to go to the farm. Not at all.
The escape was to go.
Yeah, the escape route was to school. Yeah, she actually was schooling not because she loved schooling, but because she wanted to move away from
farming.
She goes to the farm today because my grandma and then my grandpa, they were telling me stories. She goes to the farm today. She sees a snake, worm. She says, "This is a snake," so she'll run away. She'll come back home. And my grandma would say, "Then you will not eat if you're not staying on the farm with us." But my auntie was, that's my mom's younger sister. She was really into it. And my uncle also loved schooling, but he also loved agriculture. He also loved agriculture. He also loved farming. So I used to go there with them. My mom never joined us. She even went on vacation. She would come and then she would run away. So she was always like, in school. So my mom really loved schooling. So
That's
my
good.
grandma decided to put me into it, and then it was kind of a chore for me. I did it and I liked it, but not as much as the enthusiasm that I saw my auntie and then my grandma exhibiting, as well as my uncle. But later on, I realized that no, my love for it started growing, even though not with a concretized motive behind it. That, like I was saying, that was concretized around 2012. Around 2012. But I'm talking about what I'm saying. I'm talking about the early 90s. Early 90s. That's what I'm talking about during.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up, your grandmother introduced you to farming. You at that time thought it was a chore.
Yeah.
And then you went to high school as a science student. And from our conversation back then, you're in C3, and I know C3 isn't an agri class. It's other sciences, right? Like biology instead of agri.
Yeah, biology instead of agri. So a normal science class like C1 and C2.
Exactly. So at what point did you decide to, pursue agriculture?
It was when we completed, and then we decided to buy forms to go to the university. I didn't want to go to the university right away. I didn't want to go to the university right away because, like, my real love was for teaching. Like, I had love for teaching because, in my family, it's interesting. But it seems, with the exception of one uncle of mine who is a miner, one of the top miners at Takwa Mines, he is the only one who is educated, who is a miner. With the exception of him, almost everyone in my family who is educated is a teacher. So my love was for teaching. So when I finished university, I wanted to teach and get very good teaching experience. And then maybe I didn't want to go to training college per se because I always thought my mom's salary was too meager for her. So I didn't want to pass through training college. I wanted to go to the university, but I wanted to get some teaching experience. So I went to, God being so good, this mother, or I would say grandmother of ours, that is Madame Rebecca Famille of Infant Jesus Primary and Infant Jesus GSS. She was kind enough. She took me on board, and then she trained me to become like a very good teacher. And that woman is really experienced. God richly bless her. She has really helped a lot of us. Yeah, so that's where I was teaching. So I taught there for 3.5 years before I went to the university. That's where I was teaching. So my lab was for it. So I was teaching science. I was teaching science at the primary and then junior high school level. And then I was also teaching at some senior high schools. I was teaching biology as a senior high school, biology and English language. I love literature. Even though I didn't do literature, I really love literature because I read a lot. So I really love literature.
I can see the books behind.
These books are for the department, not for me alone. The entire department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they come to my office to pick some of them. But like mine is mine are in there, but they also come to over here to pick some. Yeah. So, and then my love for literature also grew in junior high school because Matters of Uganda at that time it was JSS. It's a very good school in terms of English language literature, and then we had some very good teachers. Notably among them, Mr. Owusu Koko. He was really good, and then he was always hounding us to love literature. So he took me on as his younger brother. And then he really trained me on how to read and analyze literature. So that's how come I got to love literature as well. So when I was teaching, I was also teaching English as well because I love literature. I love poems as well.
Wow, great. We have some comments here from some friends. White Tarek says, correct. Go there, Prof. Albert. And Desmond Dalcon also says, Senior Albert.
Yeah. Those were when I was a teaching assistant at KN University for 2 years. These were some of my most brilliant students that I have. Now they are not all doing well now. Tarek is now in Turkey. He's about wrapping up with his masters. Wow. And then Desmond just defended his masters. Yeah, he very soon. I think he'll be joining me in the United States to start with his PhD. So
wow, that's good to know. Tarek, it would be good to have you here share your experience in Turkey with us, and Desmond also.
Yeah.
Edwin Apia says kudos.
Yeah, Edwin too was my student. He was he's very good with management. So how he managed the class, like he was the course prefect, like for his class, and he's very very good with that. So Edwin too was one of my students.
Wow, yeah. Good to know. That's great. So, Mr. Owusu Kwarteng, what problems are your research work solving? A plant scientist or a plant researcher, what problems are you solving?
My problem, the problem that I'm really solving is how to boost yield with the meager resources that we have. When I say that, I mean that let's just say you have one parcel of land, or let's say 1 acre of land. Mm-hmm. Let's say it is able to produce, let's say 100 bags of wheat. Let me just use that as a hypothesis. 100 bags of wheat being produced today might be enough for today. But tomorrow, you will get money, you get rich, you want to take part of the land, you want to build on it. So it means that the agricultural land over there will be reduced. So the one that is left, the part that is left, how best will I be able to manage it to be able to produce the same 100 bags or even more? So with the very meager resources that we have, how best can we use that to be able to produce much more? Because now we are about roughly 7.5 billion people in the world. It is projected that in 2050, when our children will be our age, at that time, they are going to be 9.5 billion, meaning that 2 billion more added. So how best will we be? And at that time, we have a lot of settlements as well. Climate change is also there. I'll show that when I start sharing my slides. So
yeah, you can share it. You can share the slides so that we get to understand what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, we have a comment from Destiny Shepherds with Sheila Noy. Hi, my lady. Hi, Sister Sheila. Thank you for tuning in.
Is my screen shared?
No, not yet, please.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I think now I can start.
Yes, please. Yeah, okay. We can see your screen.
Yes, okay. So this is a short presentation on my research focus and why I love plant biotechnology and why I'm encouraging the youth, the young scientists who are coming in to also try and then think around it. I'm not saying they should come and join right now, but they should think around it. When you read Philippians 4:8, he said, now, brethren, whatever is good, whatever is profitable, whatever is worthy of emulation, if there's anything that is worthy of praise, think on these things. So this case, I just want you to think around it and see whether maybe you also want to help contribute your quota to feeding today's and then tomorrow's generation. So I'm going to present about my background and why, like what I've been talking about so far, why I'm into plant research, and then why plant biotechnology, and then what I'm doing right now, epigenetics as part of plant biotechnology.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Owusu Kwarteng. But I just want to remind viewers that if you have any questions whilst he's presenting, please do send them in the comment section, and then I will read them out to him. Thank you.
Okay, so like Tisha said, I'm a graduate research assistant. That is, I'm doing my PhD here at the University of Idaho. That is in the northwestern part of the United States, just closer to the Canadian border. We are just 3 hours away from the Canadian border. And then my research is focused on wheat epigenetic memory in response to wheat stress. And I'm also a member of the West African Network for the Promotion of Neglected and Underutilized Plant Species. Let me explain this a bit. Now, this younger generation or this new generation, what we do is that in Africa, we do not really like to consume the old varieties that our forefathers gave to us. Mm-hmm. For instance, let's look at a plant like the jute mallow, what we call in our local parlance in Ghana as ayoyo, the one that we eat together with TZ, and then with what people also call it diefu. It's very nutritious. I've carried out research into it. I've come out with papers as part of the West African network that I'm part of. And then we've undertaken the biochemical analysis, and we've seen that It has a lot of nutrients, much more than the exotic leaves that we are taking. So we are researching into that to be able to come out with better ones to be able to help augment the production that we have right now. And we also research into plants like pakia, or you call it dawa in our local parlance. Dawa is very good, it's very nutritious. So we research on those crop species that this younger generation thinks that is for the poor people. No, it is not for the poor. Because if you actually look at the nutrient content of what we, the younger generation, we are eating now, we are even much more poorer. Nutritionally, we are poorer.
Yeah.
So, and then we research into that. But what I love is that now I can see that this generation, we seems to like hibiscus, what we call sobolo. So that one, I'm happy about that. I'm happy, at least that there's a progress over there. But I'm just hoping that we will shift our attention also to these crops like we move from the sweet potato, which is not native to us in Africa, and they will be eating the frafra potato, which is much more nutritious than the sweet potato that we've been consuming. So that is that. There's the West African Network for the promotion of these neglected. They are neglected, like I said, and underutilized plant species. I'm a member of that. We have astute researchers from Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Togo, Nigeria. We are all together, and in Ghana, we are all together. We are part of this network. And prominent among them is my own boss, Dr. Daniel Nyadanu, who is now at Cocoa Research Institute. He is my chief mentor. He's the one who trained me. So I will say thanks to him because he inducted me into this particular network. So I salute him today. Yeah, for my academic background, like Tisha said, I did BSc Agricultural Biotechnology. And then when I was there, I worked on the in vitro regeneration of cassava at the Crop Research Institute, which is part of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research at Fumeswa in Kumasi. Okay. Yeah. So I was there. I did some internships over there. And then after that, I quite surprisingly, whilst everyone is a teaching assistant for 1 year, for me personally, I had to do it for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Why was that?
Yeah, because when we finished, my department, the biotechnology section of the department, were not that many. So my professors always, they were, as a scientist, you have to go for conferences. You have to go for programs. So always when they were absent, they wanted someone to be there to be handling the students, teaching them. And since I was already a teacher, I was able to do it. So my professors thought it wise to keep me on board.
Okay.
Until I got an opportunity to go outside to do masters. So I stayed on for 2 years over there, and then that is how come this morning all my folks that are watching now, I got to know them and I got to get these wonderful brains as part of our network. Yes. So great. I was involved in that, and then we worked on that, and then later on I came to France. I came to France principally because at that time I was having 3 scholarships, and then I had to choose between them. So I discussed with my
because on this platform we also talk about scholarship opportunities. So maybe another time we will let you come and share with us how you got these scholarships.
Okay. Yes, but I got a scholarship from USAID, that is to do a master's program in Ghana, USAID BHEAD, and then I got one from Italy, and then I got one from Paris-Saclay in France. But I discussed with my supervisors. I discussed with Dr. Nyadanu, and then Dr. Amo, and then Dr. Kena, who is now at KNUST, really helping that our department will soar higher and higher. So, and then they said no. They gave me advice that no, I should. They think that I should come to France, even though I was going to do my program in French. But yeah, it wasn't easy. But yeah, so upon the advice and then like a sober reflection, I decided to go to France and then do my postgraduate studies over there. So what I did was the first year I worked on integrative biology and physiology, which is much more like biotechnology. That's how the French people normally like to call it. So I did that, and then I did so many internships over there because that place, the research base is very strong. Yeah. So I worked on extracting proteins, working with reactive oxygen species, and then something like this. I have my friend Mr. Banana over here. So if you are a normal banana should be having this color as you see over here. But when the banana is stressed, because I kept it in the fridge for a very long time. So you see that it is developing these dark signals. These are due to what we call reactive oxygen species. So what I studied was to study the reactive oxygen species and how they are triggered, and which conditions make them, conditions trigger them. That's what I did over there. And then after that, I came back to my genetics, because genetics is my friend for me. So I came back, and then I worked on, first of all, on the traits involved in variation in biomass digestibility. Let me just sum it up. What I mean is, we harvest maize for ruminants, cows and goats, to eat, so that they will be able to produce higher amount of milk for us. So we were studying on how to improve upon the quality of the maize, so that the plants will be able to digest, the animals will be able to digest the maize really well, and then in turn they will also do us a favor of
producing more milk,
very high quality milk for us. So that's what I was doing. So I was working with the genetics and biochemistry aspect, and then I also moved to the French-Spanish border. On the border, I went to Monsanto, which is one of the biggest corporations in our in the plant science domain. So I went to Monsanto, and then I worked on what we call cytoplasmic male sterility. I wouldn't bother those the folks that are with me that do not really understand these terms, but what it means is, you know, for a plant we have the male part and we have the female part. But when the plant is suffering from CMS, it is actually a good thing, because it means that the plant is, let me just say it in layman terms, the plant is impotent, meaning that the plant is having the male part, but the male part is not able to function.
It's not performing.
It's not able to fertilize the egg, which is actually a good thing, because there are males who are stronger. I would say they are very strong. So then we will now go and pick those males and then use them to fertilize the females. So if it is there in the plant, it is really useful for us, because if that plant is really a plant that is not really performing well, we would wish that it will not even try and then fertilize it, because it's just going to produce things that we do not like. Just feeble, low quality plants. So I worked on that, and then saw how some of them were breaking, meaning that the gene was there, but it was not expressing. So I was studying the conditions which were promoting that breakage. So I worked there at Monsanto as well. And then later on, I came to the United States. And when I came to the United States, I've been working on epigenetics now. Now, moving from the genetics aspect, I'm going to explain very soon. And teacher asked me, why did I decide to choose plant research? And when my lab started to grow was when I got to know of these statistics. And these statistics are by courtesy of USAID. Now, the population, like I was saying, population is increasing. In 1950, when most of us watching me today were not born, we were just around, in the 1950s and 1960s, we were just around the region of 3.5 billion. And then in the 90s, when most of us were all born, we were around the region of 5 billion. Now, in the new millennium, we are now 7.5 billion. We are 7.5 billion. And very soon, 2050, when our children will be our age, will be 9.5 billion. So it poses a problem to food security, because you see, like you see my beautiful baby over here. It's not mine. It's not mine though, but this beautiful baby over here. The number of people who are being born a day are much more than the number of people who are dying. I'm not saying people should die. No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean.
But it's appointed unto us, right?
Yeah. So the number of people who are being born are much more than those who are dying. I know COVID has taken a lot, but it's still relatively low. Still relatively low. But when this is against the backdrop that, like I was saying, there is this urban sprawl, meaning that people are building. Tisha has money. Tisha is going to build a house. Tisha's sister or brother will also build a house. I will build a house. This one watching us will build a house. Terry will also build a house. So once we are building a house, you should know that we are now encroaching on the farmland. But more and more people are being born a day. And we are taking part of the farmland. We are just taking them bit by bit. So everyone is taking a share. And let's say we have a loaf of bread. If each person takes a slice, they will be left with no bread for us. So And that is how it is. So this is the first backdrop. The second backdrop is the fact that you can see my friend, Mr. Polar Bear over here. You can see that it is really struggling. It needs its eyes to survive. But right now, look, the glacier is melting. Climate change is true. It's really happening. Look at what is happening in Europe right now. What just happened in Belgium, Germany, and Holland. I think you all saw the pictures. You all saw it.
Yeah.
You see, we had a lot of flooding over there. And whilst this flooding is happening over there, you go to some parts of Africa, Asia, in the Middle East, there's drought. Farmland, plants need water to survive. And there's drought. So you can see Mr. Maize over here. And Maize is my friend.
Dried.
Dried up. And all these are against the backdrop that there is a problem. We need to feed posterity. We need to feed the future generation.
Yeah.
So, and then you see, this picture is very sad. It's so sad. That's why I'm saying we should all say a prayer. It's so sad. You can see that we see every day. This is a real statistic. I'm not just making it up. It's courtesy of USAID. More than 3 million children die of hunger each year. You and I may be lucky, we might be getting food to eat. But think of your friend, think of a child in Ethiopia, in the Tigray region in Ethiopia, in South Sudan. Think of what is happening on the northern part of Chad. People are dying. You go to the Middle East, people are dying each day because of hunger. They don't get food to eat. So basically, my aim was to come to agriculture, and then this food demand that we are seeing over here, we need food because more and more people need food. When you look over here in the 1970s, the food demand was very low. But now in the 2020s and 2030s, food demand has shot up. It is even going to shoot up higher in 2050, by the 2050s. So when our children will be our age now.
Yeah.
So all of these things together push me into plant science. That I should try, and then I'm not saying I'm going to be God, I'm going to help, I'm going to produce everything for people to eat. No. But how best can I, as an individual, contribute my quota to help boost a bit? So if I help, if Tisha joins me, she helps. If Desmond joins me, then we all be able to help, like join our forces together and then increase the yield increase the yield. Let me talk economics right now to meet the demand that is going to be asked of us by posterity. So that is how come I came into agriculture.
What you are doing.
Plant science.
Wow. Okay. Before you continue, we have some comment here which I would like to read them out to you. So we have Osman Dao. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it properly. And he says, hi, Dr. Kwarteng. And Frank Osei Ajay says, great guy, hardworking dude. A brother and a friend from childhood, always on the move. Kudos, bro. And Desmond Akon again says, on point, Prof. Albert. Eldridge in 2013 reported that by 2050, our world population would rise to 9.7 billion. And Ibrahima Diallo says, Alberto. And Abonsu says, today's discussion is so educative. And Tarek says, I can listen to Sir Albert all day. Too much knowledge. I agree with you, Tarek. And Osman says, how will your research help solve these problems?
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
We'll get there, right?
Yeah, we'll get there. Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for listening to me, Usman. Usman is also a very good, he's one of the greatest guys that I've met. He's right now in France doing his PhD. He's about wrapping up with his PhD.
Oh, Osman, please, we need you here. Please come and share with us what you are doing.
Yes. And then Ibrahima is also a great guy. Usman is from Mali, and Ibrahima is from Guinea. They are my mates when we're doing our masters in France. So
in France, great. It will be great to have you guys here share with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, this food demand, we need to contribute our quota, each of us, so as to be able to meet this food demand over here. And when you look at agriculture, plant research is really interesting. Let's look at, maybe some of us watching us do not know, but I know maybe Usman and Cody all know. When you look at the wild mustard seed, and I'm sure those who read the Bible, sorry, Tariq and Usman Ibrahim, but it's the Bible that I read, that's why I'm saying those who read the Bible, you know, the Bible says, if you have faith like the mustard seed, this is a wild mustard. And you know that it is through the efforts of our forefathers that we got cabbage from the wild mustard seed. God didn't create cabbage from the beginning. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't create cabbage from the beginning. He didn't create cauliflower from the beginning. He didn't create broccoli or kale leaves from the beginning. No. They all came out as a result of selection. I'm going to explain.
Wow.
Their selection.
This is really insightful. I never knew this.
Yes, so they all came out of the wild mustard seed. That is why plant sciences, you see, plant sciences, that's why we call it Alice in Wonderland. That's how I like to term it. It's very, very interesting. There are so many stuff that we are eating today that were not there from the beginning. No, it was through the efforts of our forefathers. And then I'm going to explain now. This is what we call artificial selection. That is how come we got that one. Now, Tisha, do you know that the maize that you are eating today came out of this one? This old progenitor that we call Teosinte, or the French will call it Teosinte.
No.
This is how come we got to get maize. Maize wasn't like this from the beginning. No, maize was like this, but through artificial selection. This is what I mean by that. Our grandfathers and our grandmothers will go to the farm. They will see the Teosinte varieties. They will see that one is producing something bigger than the other one. Then our forefathers will pick the bigger one. They will go and pick another bigger one from somewhere. They will cross them. That is, they will, like I was saying, the male parts, they will cross the male part with the female part. And then the offspring will become better. The offspring will become better than the parents. And then from the offspring, they will continue to do that. So many years. So a time will come whereby, so when we started getting this, these are the intermediates. And then going to this level, and now we have this modern corn or maize variety that we are eating.
Wow.
So I'm sure maybe people are now getting, those who are not into agriculture, you are getting to love plant science.
Yes. I'm liking it.
Yeah, so that is how, that is the beauty of plant science. So when you look at that one, like I was saying, the crossing, or you can call it breeding. So the Teosinte plant being crossed. And then one very good thing is that, let's say this maize variety, this maize plant, you know, it is coming from this wild ancestor, the Teosinte. That is the forefather or the ancestor. If, let's say, this ancestor is in the farm, and then there are a lot of, let's say, insects which are worrying this ancestor, but the ancestor is able to survive. But this maize one that we have taken out of it, you know, one bad aspect of selection is that once you are doing it, you know, you are selecting for something that you like. But that thing that you are selecting for, maybe the thing that you don't like, the reason why you are discarding it, maybe it is there to protect it against something. That, and we have plant scientists who work on that as well. Yeah, we call that crop protection. We have another part of plant science, those who work on that, crop protection. So this one is able to, the old variety is able to withstand the problems, but this new one is not able to withstand the problem. So now we go back and then cross this old variety with the new one, so as to inculcate that particular quality in it in the new one.
Wow.
Now you know that the new one will not be having the one that we get, the offspring will not be having this nice shape that you like. It will not be having it. Yeah, gradually I'm moving to why I love plant biotechnology. Why that is the section of plant science that I like. So if you need a particular distance, let's say you need insect resistance, you go and then cross it, and then you see that now this plant that is produced will now be resistant to the insect. But I know, Tisha, you say, oh, but this one is not looking that nice. How much will I get to eat? I know, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand. That is, I'm getting there. That is how come I'm doing plant biotechnology. I'll get there. But you know, so as you see over here, these are our hardworking plant scientists. And look at our beautiful mother over here, who's working on the sorghum species, this sorghum variety. I don't know those watching if you love the African drink, African alcoholic drink that we brewed. If you love Pito, then you love our mother over here. She's really preparing the sorghum for us to be able to use it to brew Pito. I love Pito. It's good. It's really good for the heart. So then we use it to prepare so many types of porridge. The cocoa that we prepare in Ghana, when you go, thanks to my friends Usman and then Ibrahima, and I know my friends, Senegalese friends, and well, I know that they all have the same thing in their country, just that the names differ.
Yeah,
the names differ. So you know that when they cross, they do that crossing. As you can see over here, they are crossing over here. This part, what this man is doing is that he's covering the male part, because the males are not able to like really produce very good offspring. So he will cover that male part so that, and then he will fertilize the female part with a male that is really
stronger.
Yes, that is what we are doing. And at the end of the day, instead of us having these small maize varieties, we have this bigger one.
Big one.
The tomato that our forefathers came to see were like these smaller ones over here. Yeah, but now we have bigger ones than this. I know, Tisha, when you go to the market, you want to pick bigger ones than
course.
Yes. Yesterday, I went to the market with my friend. I told him to pick tomatoes, which are like this. I was telling my friend, you are not serious. You are not serious. Yeah, he wanted to pick bigger ones. All that is due to the activity of plant scientists.
So it means that, sorry for coming in.
No problem.
It means that when we see the big tomatoes and the big mazes, it's not like there are some chemicals that have been injected.
No. You see, that is a misconception. Yeah, and I'm really saddened when I listen to, especially I listen to the parliamentarians, especially in the Ghanaian parliament, and when we start talking about plant biotechnologies, as if some people are trying to put poison in their food. It's really sad. It saddens my heart.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I think it's because we are not well informed. Like, we need information. For example, I also didn't know. I thought, like, when we see this big, beautiful stuff, it's like some chemicals that have been injected. But today I have been educated by listening to you, by having this conversation.
Yes, you cannot put any chemical over here to get this. I don't know where they got that misconception from. Because that chemical that you are talking about, you put chemicals to, let's say, ward off insects and all of that. But even that one, we have organic farming, which does not take into account pesticides and the rest. But the pesticides and those things do not help plants to grow bigger. I don't know where. You see, that is a huge misconception. I don't know where they got those figures or they got those facts from. It is non-existent. It is neither here nor there. So today, please indulge me. I'm questioning that thing. That thing doesn't exist. No one is putting any chemical anywhere. So you see, if they talk like that, then you ask them if they had met the maize, the teosante that I showed you. Would they have eaten it like that? No.
No. That doesn't look attractive.
Yeah. But it is through our own activity that we got this. But this one that I'm showing you, what our forefathers did, what these people are doing, our mothers and our fathers and our brothers are doing right now. It has two main issues. There's a problem over there. That is how come we do biotechnology. And the first problem is what we call crossability barriers. Now, let me just explain. Tisha, imagine, let's say you see a quality, let's say fish that you want. The ones that they are saying chemicals. That's what I'm coming to. It's not chemicals. Let's say you see something in fish that you like, but you want to insert that one into the tomato. You want the tomato to have the same thing. In science, in plant science, or in typical the scientific world, every living thing deals with the DNA, the basis of every living thing, with the exception of viruses. I'll come to that, which are called RNAs. But the DNA, I'll explain that one. So the DNA is everything. That is the base of everything. So if you see a nail, your nail is as a result of a protein. But that protein is conditioned by a DNA. The DNA is the starting point, and then you move to RNA, and then the protein becomes the final result. So without DNA, you have nothing. That's why we go for paternity tests, because that is the DNA of the person. And I will show you some slides showing the DNA, just to something small, so that maybe you can get a slight understanding of it. So we cannot do this, like I was saying. You can't, because the DNA of these ones, they differ. I don't want to go into the detail because it's much more complicated, but I'm sure Terry and Desmond, they understand all of these things. They all understand. It's different, so you cannot do this. Secondly, there's something that we call linkage. Let's just use a typical English word. Even though over here it is not English, but let's just use English. Linkage. Meaning that, let's say, teacher, you go to the market. You see these tomatoes over here, but they'll be small to you for your liking.
Yeah.
But you see we see that this one is big, quite bigger. But it is having this thing that we call a scab. That is a disease. So because of that, you might be forced to come and choose these smaller ones.
Yeah.
Now, what is happening over here is that the gene that is coding for the DNA for the bigger fruit is also linked to the one that is coding for the scab. The one that makes it produce bigger fruit is linked to that. And I've done meiosis. When I was in France, I worked on meiosis. I worked on research. I did research on meiosis. Meiosis is what breaks down the DNA, so that at the end of the day, like you can the mother, it will have the DNA, so that the mother will give its part, the dad will give his part, and then you have the offspring.
Yeah.
But when that is happening, sometimes there's reshuffling, meaning that they mix up. But when they are mixing up, not all of them separate. If they are closely linked to each other, they will not separate. So they are both inherited together. So this one too is a problem. When there's linkage, it means that you cannot take it off with artificial selection, just cross it, because each time they will be inherited together. I think, teacher, you get my
yes, I get you.
Yes. So these are the two main issues in classical breeding or artificial selection. So the question that we pose is that, can biotechnology offer a solution so that our friend over here, our handsome brother over here, was smart? So can biotechnology offer a solution? That's why I'm into plant science. Now, like I was saying, DNA is the genesis of everything. I'm just showing this. It's complicated, but just to let you know, the DNA just looks like this. When you deal with animation, it just looks like this. And everything that I've been saying, DNA, paternity test, the DNA is just four things, 4 letters, A, G, T, and C, 4 letters. But the combination of that, the string of that, is what will determine the kind of protein that is produced. So is the protein...
You're making me fall in love with plant science, seriously.
Yeah, so as to whether or not, Madam Teacher, your nice hair is going to be long or short, I can see you have short hair. It is due to the DNA. It is due to the DNA that your dad gave you. You understand?
Not my mom.
The combination. Yeah, I wouldn't talk about that, but we have a part that your mom give you and the part that your dad give you. Especially, let's talk about respiration, how you respire. More times you see that if your mom is having heart defects, there's a higher likelihood that you also have the heart defect. If your mom is temperamental, you also be temperamental. There's a high likelihood. That's not the subject for today, but it's all due to DNA, because we take that part of the DNA, we take our respiratory DNA from the mother. That one, we take it from the mother. We don't take it from your dad. That is how come my dad is so calm, but I'm not calm. I took after my mom, so I'm not calm. But my dad is he's so calm. So it's like that because my mom gave me her respiratory material. That is how come it's like that. So the DNA is just AGTC. That DNA test that, but it is the combination. How is it combined? How is it being read? That is what shows that Madam Tisha will have long hair or will have short hair. So plant biotechnology, when we say the genesis is all about DNA. I'm trying to talk about the chemicals that people who do not really understand are saying we are putting chemicals in there. No one is putting any chemical anywhere. No. So it's not chemicals that are making any plant bigger. No. It's a huge misconception. It doesn't exist. So that is it. So we go to the DNA level. So at plant biotechnologies, what we do is we go to the DNA level. So like I was saying, you see these beautiful leaves over here that we normally see in the fall. And then this beautiful flower and then these roots, they're all due to the DNA. Like I said, the DNA will produce a protein. It will go through a process which is a very complicated one. I don't want to go into it. I don't want to go into it for today. But the DNA will be copied into what we call RNA. But let's say viruses, the one like COVID-19, the coronavirus, it is having the RNA. It doesn't go through the DNA stage. That is how come it is very quick. Because instead of it to go through the entire process, it just starts from here straight away, and then it turns into a protein. So it doesn't go through this DNA process. They are the only living things, viruses and viroids, that do not start with the DNA as the genetic material. They start with RNA straight. And basically, the difference between DNA and RNA is that, when I showed you the DNA, I said it was AGTC. The RNA, the T doesn't work in there, so it changes to a U. That is all that is there. That is all that is there. Please, if I'm boring you with details, please forgive me.
No, it's okay. Let's go through some of the comments to see if anyone has a question for you. Okay, so Patrick Encho says, Albert, and Destiny Shepherds with Shelanoy says, amazing, great info. Thank you. And Opoku Nketia says, not your regular teacher, say Albert Kwarteng, good vibes. Thank you, Opoku. Desmond says, I love the spotlight, so insightful. Thank you, Desmond. And he says he loves Pito too.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, me too. I don't love Pito. And Desmond says it saddens his heart too that the COVID vaccine is even genetically modified, yet no one is talking about it.
Yes.
And Lily Owusu says, so educative. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Keep the comments coming. Okay. And Desmond says 50%, 50% recombination from both mother and father.
Yes, that is an answer to your question, Tisha. Yeah. The one that you asked me whether it's not your dad who is giving you the long hair. So, like I was saying, it's a combination. That's the answer that Professor Desmond has just given. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Desmond. And Tarek says Accra, Tema, Ghana, Cape Coast, Ghana Coast. Okay. Yeah. Let's continue.
Yes. So, for us to get the leaf or the flower or the roots, it's all due to the DNA, which would translate into what we call a protein. So the protein is what will show what is going to happen. So, but it is all, without the DNA, we don't have anything. So as in plant biotechnology, what we do is we try to play God a little bit. That's what I see. One of my most highly educated professors, one of the former provost of the College of Agric and Natural Resources at KU University, Professor Richard Akroma, he likes to say, let's try and play God a little bit. He's one of the pioneers of plant biotechnology in Ghana. He's a well-learned professor. Yes, I salute him today. Yes, so we go there, like I was saying, and we try to use what we call molecular scissors. So let me just use the scissor. It is not a scissor per se, but we do it biochemically. It is something very simple, but complicated to explain, but let me just use the scissor over here. So we go and then we cut part of the DNA. And the moment you cut it, if it were supposed to be read, let's say AGT, and now it is reading AGA, the information that you get in the final analysis will change.
Yeah.
That is it. So that is basically what we do. So, Tisha, please, is there any chemical that we are putting in there?
No.
And even what is happening is when we cut, we human beings do not repair them ourselves. The designer is so great that he has made it in such a way that once it is cut, it goes through itself. It goes through a repair process. So it will repair. But when it is repairing, there's 75% chance that what was there, let's say you cut out a T, will not be replaced with a T. Because like I said, it's AGTC. So you know that there's 75% chance that others will be, let's say maybe an A or a G or a C will be added. And once that happens, the final information will change.
Yeah.
So let's say if it were to be smaller fruit, now we are going to have bigger fruit.
Bigger ones.
Based on the repair process by the designer, by God, not by us. We just cut the DNA. We just cut it so that it will reshuffle. It will change by itself, not by us. So I don't see where that chemical thing is coming. I just don't see.
Thanks to your education today. Now, when you go to the market, you can pick all the big stuff without fear.
Yes. Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid of it because there's no chemical that anyone is added. I'm even afraid of pesticides than to go for something that is genetically modified. When we say genetically modified, we haven't added anything. All that we did was, like I'm explaining, you cut part of the DNA so that the thing will repair by itself. And we hope that it will repair and then give us what we want. More often than not, it happens that way. That is all that we do. And even the repair process, we do not do it ourselves. The designer does it himself, by himself. It's not by us. So basically, that is all that we do in plant biotechnology.
Wow. This one has summarized it here. He says plant biotechnology is just the introduction of specific nucleotide sequences of interest to plant scientists and not the entire DNA genome.
That is it.
And we have an interesting comment here. Owusu, who is an agriculturist, says, I fell out of love with agriculture, but I think doctor is bringing the love back. That's really good to know, Anna.
We thank God. We thank God that she's now, the lab is developing.
And actually, that's the purpose of this program, to motivate people, and then to keep people pushing and going. So it's good to know that Anna has been encouraged by your work.
I'm glad. And keep the fire burning, Anna, and then try and join us to help try and contribute our quota into feeding the generation, the future generation, posterity, to help us. Yeah. So basically, that is all that we do in plant biotechnology. That is all that we do. That's all that we do in plant biotechnology. So we are saying that protein is the omega, meaning that that's the final product. So whether you have a nail, you have a leaf, you have a flower, whether you have short fingers or long fingers, are all due to the DNA that you have from the beginning. That is what happens. The environment also plays a role. The environment also plays a role. Yeah, so because there's an interconnection between the environment and the DNA that you have. It is not all environments which will allow what you have, what the designer gave you to be expressed. No. So the environment also plays a role. But you need to have the DNA first. Without that one, even if you are in a proper environment, nothing will happen. Okay. If you have DNA for short genes, whether you are in the best environment in the world or the worst environment, you still be short. I'm sorry to my short friends, but that is how it is. That is how it is.
Great. So what are some of the challenges that you faced? I mean, you've mentioned some challenge that you faced specific to this genetic stuff, but as a researcher, what are some of the challenges that you face?
Yes, so as a plant researcher, like these things that I'm showing you over here, I've explained them for them to be easy for you to understand. But when you are in the lab and then you are working on it, or you are in the greenhouse is just like the field, but it's different. With the greenhouse, we have automated everything, meaning that the optimal temperature that we need for the plant to grow, the optimal lighting, the plant needs sunlight, but we have very good lights that serve as sunlight for us because we have calibrated them to give the same waves, the same energy that the sun is giving. So that's why we keep the plants before we take the plants to the field. Normally, you finish from the lab, you go to the greenhouse, and then before you go to the field, because in the field, there are a lot of factors that you cannot control, but in the greenhouse, everything is controlled. Yeah. So when you are doing it, and then you are in the lab, it is not always that everything goes well. I think Dr. Osman listening to us, he knows about it. Usman, he knows about this because he has been complaining to me, my friend, what I'm doing, I'm not getting the results. Yes, because it's not that easy. It is not that easy. Like I was saying, that the repair process doesn't depend on us. So sometimes you don't get the results that you need. Sometimes too, there's a slight fluctuation. Yeah, and then you see at the DNA level, everything should be uniform. Because DNA level, the DNA needs a kind of environment that it can operate. It doesn't just operate like that. So sometimes when you are in the lab, there are challenges in there. And then your PhD or your master's or your project is time bound because they give you funding for a particular period. And you need to produce results. And this is not like, let's say you're having an irrigated farm that you can control water and then the sun is shining and you just get, that, come what may, you get your results. You get let's say, your fruit being harvested. No, this one is very, very delicate. So, yeah, but always you have something that we have as a backup research. which is not really what we want, but just to be able to meet the demand. Because the funding will be gone and we need to show results for it. Other than that, it means I would have wasted money.
Yeah.
So it's a huge challenge in there. Sometimes to challenge getting funding for your work, because the people that you are going to look for funding from, they should understand. Like some people are saying that we are putting chemicals. So if I go to someone who has the money to fund, and then he says, you people, you are the ones who have been killing us. You have been giving us cancer. Or through all of this misconception, it's very difficult. So sometimes you write for grants and then you don't get. So that one is also a huge problem that we face.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying, but by and large, we sail through little by little. Through solidarity.
Exactly. The challenges are bound to come, but then at the end of the day, you are still able to do what you have to do, right? Yeah. Great. I've seen that you have quite a number of publications. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What goes on into that?
Yes, with my publications, I would say I had very good mentors. Like I was saying, Professor Richard Akuma, the former provost of College of Agric and Natural Resources, KNUST. He was my big boss. And then my main man, the one that I shared the same office with, that is Dr. Daniel Nyadanu, who is now at the Cocoa Research Institute. They really trained me. They trained me. They put me on this part of research. And then they inducted me into this West African network for the promotion of neglected and underutilized species. So we researched into that. And we were looking at plant diversity studies, how diverse these plants are, the ones that I was talking about from the beginning. These are Ayoyo, jute mallow, the Parkia, Dawadawa, Frafra potato, and then hibiscus, that is Sobolo. They put me into that, and then we started researching into that. So we teamed up with members. We have Professor Alexandre Dancy from Togo, from Benin. We have Professor Nick Yema from Burkina Faso. We have some from La Côte d'Ivoire. We teamed up, and then we are still together. We are still together, even though now we are not publishing frequently as we used to. So I joined them, and then we started researching into these plant species. So and then what we were doing was that we were analyzing the biochemical component, just to show to the world, to the younger generation who do not have the penchant, the tendency of consuming such food, such varieties, that these plants are much more nutritious vis-a-vis the new ones that they like, because they think that it's a sort of prestige. It is just like someone who has money.
Rich people's food, right?
Yeah, someone who has money. I was in school with you. I was at KNUST with you. We're eating Ajua's gobe from Continental Hall. But my friend will now get money and think, oh, Ajua's gobe is for the poor. Meanwhile, no.
It's nutritious.
Yeah, it's nutritious. But now that person will go and then eat a pizza. Meanwhile, you cannot compare the nutritional aspect of pizza to Gary and beans. Yeah. For those who didn't understand the gobe, those watching from France, and it's just a mixture of Gary, and then that is grounded cassava, and those from the Francophone countries. Yeah, those from the Francophone countries, you know that as tapioca. So that's how you call it. So that is it. You mix that with beans, and then you prepare it nicely. You add some palm oil to it, and then it is very nutritious.
Yeah.
So we just want to show to the world that no, these plants are, with facts and figures, biochemical analysis, and then genetic analysis, to show that these ones are much more better. They are better. So if we stick to them and we improve upon them, we'll be able to produce. We'll be able to maximize on that and feed the younger generation, whilst they are getting much better nutrition compared to what they are getting now.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Ibrahim Diallo says, can you please introduce some parts of your PhD research?
Okay.
And Patrick Encho says, biotech can help tackle climate change.
Yes. Yes, it's true. Like what
comment.
Yes, what Patrick is saying is really true. Yeah, Patrick too is one of my brilliant students that I encountered over there back at KNUST. Yeah, so what he's saying is true. Like I was telling you, let's look at what Patrick was saying. You know, like the plants which are suffering from the drought, the one that I showed from the beginning, Tisha. You know.
Yeah, I'm showing the slides again. So if you want to go back to show something, you can.
Okay. So this plant, when I was showing, you see that these plants that are suffering from this one, you know, they are not getting enough water. Enough water. So when we, like, the plant needs a certain amount of water, but all that is conditioned by the DNA. Why is it that the plant thinks it needs a certain amount of water before it can do well? Because of the DNA that is underlying it, that is in there. So biotech, like what Angel is saying, we can condition them, we can excise, we can cut part of that DNA, so that now the plant, the protein that will be produced will be different. So the plant will now be thinking differently. So meaning that with the smallest amount of water that the plant will get, it will still be able to produce the yield that it would have produced if it were to be under very good irrigated conditions. So basically, that's what Patrick is trying to say. So biotech can help us tackle climate change. So true.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Osman says gobe is very delicious.
Yes. Usman is from Mali, but you know he's staying with a Ghanaian now, where he's doing his PhD in France. And that Ghanaian from the region, yeah, he likes gobe. He likes to give him in Katinkwa, and so he's always telling me about that.
Very soon you'll be a Ghanaian, Osman.
Yes, I'll take Usman to Ghana one day. So.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Albert Owusu Kwarteng, I can start. You are doing a whole lot of things, and you've already mentioned that you have great mentors. I mean, who has been helping you, directing you, and all that. That's good to know. What about you? Are you mentoring other people?
Yes. So far, like I've been with guys, and I don't really like to use the word mentor when it comes to me. And then I see them as I take them on board as friends, younger brothers and sisters that I've helped. So like you can see, Desmond is one of my proteges. Desmond, Tariq, Bismarck. Yeah, so I've been blessed with very good, brilliant students who are even much more educated and much more wiser than I am. So I have them, and then I have some very Mamia Joa. They are very, very brilliant students. But if there's anyone who is interested, who is watching us today, who wants to come on board, my doors are always open. Okay. It's a busy program though, but I'll try as much as possible too, because we need people on board. We need people. We need people on board. Yeah.
We don't want to go hungry in 2050, right? Yes, so we need more people.
We need more people. So that is
great. So you have had the opportunity of studying in Ghana for your bachelor's, and then also working as a teaching assistant, and then you've also studied in France for like 2 years, right? And then
I studied in France for 2 years, and then I worked at a research center for 1.5 years. So
wow, so like close to 4 years. So let's say 3.5 years.
Yes, I was 1 month shy of 4 years. I stayed in France for 4 years. So
great. And then you are now in the States.
Yes.
Yeah. But how do you see the state of the current state of research work in Ghana, or let's say in Africa? Compare that to what you saw in Europe, and then what you are seeing in America.
This thing, I don't know what to say, but I would say it is sad. It is so sad, because when you talk about South Africa, Algeria, Morocco, they are the exception. So I would take those countries out, because those countries are really matching
the European standard.
European standard, like our former President Mama would say, boot for boot. Boot for boot. So that for those countries, they are great. South Africa, Algeria, Morocco, they are great. But you look at the other countries, and you can see that Kenya is also trying to do what Kenya is doing, because especially plant biotechnology, Kenya is also trying. They are trying because they are investing. You know, it's all about funding. It's all about investment. But here is the case whereby the policymakers, they do not really think that what we are doing is important. You hosted Dr. Martin Owusu recently.
Yeah.
And then I was having a chat with him just, I think, about a week or two ago, and he was telling me they are not being appreciated. Researchers are not being appreciated, especially in our country. You know, these strikes and all of that is because they are not being appreciated. They don't value what we do. You see, that is the problem. They do not really value it. Because of that, there's not much funding. And without funding, we can't do anything.
But why do you think this problem is existing? Why don't they appreciate? Is it that they don't know the value of research work? Is it that you also don't really open up to them to let them know the need to invest in research? What's really happening?
I can't really put my finger on that, but I will just say that maybe they know the value, but maybe they think they know the value.
Priorities.
Yeah, but they think other things are much more important than this, which I find it difficult to understand. I find it very, very,
but
very.
Don't you also think it's because maybe the policymakers are not? I'm thinking of the right word to use, like well informed. Because, for example, you are talking about how maybe in Parliament sometimes you talk about chemicals in this food, and from your explanation, it has got nothing to do with chemicals.
But
right?
you know something.
Because that maybe we don't really understand some of these things. That's why they are not investing.
I would say it is partly due to that. But you know the problem. This agricultural minister, Dr. Owusu, I've seen him in Parliament struggling to convince parliamentarians about the need to enlarge biotechnology research. But they do not even allow him to finish, and they will start hooting at him. I think you've seen, I've been watching it with sadness. The man tries to explain the thing, but you see, the thing is that, the first part, the first stage of solving a problem is to admit that there's a problem. So I think maybe they are not really, they don't really think that it is a problem. They don't really think that it's a problem. So they have closed, they don't even want to listen. They don't even want to listen. Because there are so numerous instances that Professor Kroman has tried to explain this thing. We have Dr. Gile. I think during the first administration of this current president, Dr. Gile Nura, who was one of my lecturers back at KNUST, he was the Minister of State in charge of agriculture. He knows about all of these things, so he is there at the top hierarchy. But I think he tries to explain. But you explain, but at the end of the day, you are not holding the keys to the coffers. So if those people, the ones that I was saying really matter, think that what you have is not really, doesn't really attract attention, they will not really mind you. So I believe that maybe we should be having much more of us going into those positions so that we'll be able to prioritize this.
Dr. Martin also Mensah said the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, when he came, he mentioned the same thing, that we need some of you going there to solve the problem.
Yes, it's so true. Like what Dr. Martin Mensah was saying, if we don't get there, because we need a greater percentage of us being there so that we'll be able to. Because if, let's say, Dr. Gile was advocating for us, but it seems he was the only one, he and the agri minister, even though they have power, they do not really control the coffers. So if those are the helm of affairs think that, no, you are saying we should go and do this, we should go improve upon agriculture. But let's say the people in, let's say, a Subin constituency, they are saying that they want roads. And without the roads, they will not vote for us again. So they will think that, no, that one has much more political capital compared to your agriculture, because they think that, no. It is when there's famine, that is when they realize that, no, this thing would have been.
We need these people.
That is it. But once there's food, once there's food, it is good.
Yeah. Osman has also raised a concern. He says when it comes to funding, international organizations can fund projects anywhere in the world. So why African researchers can't apply? So why can't African researchers apply for international grants?
Yeah, I get Osman's point. That is when we have to do a self-introspection. I understand where he's coming from, and what he's saying is so valid. His point is that what he's trying to say is that the answer to his question, what he's trying to say is that we have a whole lot of researchers who are into, Tisha, when we were back home, like we were young, we used to say that when we finish school, we go and teach, and then when we get a better job, we stop and get in there. I'm sure you said it. I'm sure a lot of us said it. We get into teaching, and when we get a better job, we will leave. There are some, I wouldn't say most, but there are I would say, a sizable percentage of researchers who are into it because they saw that as an avenue to make money, not really because they have love for research. So they go in there and then they do what Dr. Jadalu would like to say, chobo chobo, meaning that inferior quality. And you know that if you are writing for grants for international, to the international organizations, they will not take that inferior quality, that chobo chobo stuff. You need to show that what you are doing is really worthwhile before they will fund you.
Yeah.
So if what the people have been doing, what some of them have been doing is just to do something like Dr. Nyadanu would say, do something to represent something. That is what they do. So if that's what you do, you can never get any international grant or funding. Yeah. So that one too is partly we ourselves are partly to blame, because some of us, unfortunately, some of our colleagues also do not really. They are in there just because they thought, oh, maybe they could get some money to just fend for themselves and their families. So that is the point that Dr. Usman is trying to raise.
Yeah, but what about if like these international organizations want you to do the research that interests them? For example, if Europe is sponsoring you, I think they would want you to do something that solves a problem in Europe. So what about African problems? I mean,
yes.
We have African politicians, African policymakers sponsoring research work. I think those research work will be something solving Africa's problems, right?
Yes. For the international funding, some of them will want you to be solving problems in their area. But some of the problems are also transferable. Like looking at my work right now, I'll talk about it briefly. The work that I'm doing right now, we could do even though we do not, wheat doesn't grow in Ghana, but it's just transferable. The same knowledge that I'm getting, I could transfer that knowledge into maize, into soybean, and all of that. So some of them you can just transfer that. So if I write for, let's say, a grant after my program, and then I say, like, I'm going to Ghana, let's say I'm going to work on soybean, and I write a grant, and then I use data that I got from my work over here, and I say, I can do this, I can do that, produce this kind of result. If I'm able to convince them, and that convincing is not by word of mouth, no, it's through your work. What do you have to say for it? If I'm able to convince them with my work, they'll give me the funding, because they know I'm going to solve a pertinent problem, and then I'm going to cite them. I'm going to cite, and that is going to also help them grow their organization. So they'll continue to also help people. But here's a case whereby you don't do very good work. And then you want funding, you will never get, because this thing is not. It is not a prayer problem, or no. It is not like that. It is work problem. So so I just believe that if you do not really have passion for research, because I'm of the strong belief that if there were to be many jobs, like job in abundance in Ghana, like as we have in Germany, you have in the United States, in Canada, I would believe that there are some researchers that wouldn't be in research. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be research. They are in there because it is an avenue that is more or less, you can say,
there's something to do.
There's something to do. It's just like, we have been complaining that some of our nurses do not have very good character.
Yeah, they're not passionate about the work.
Yes, and I believe that those ones are just in there because they knew that for that one you wouldn't have to go and apply for anything.
For work.
You just finish and then you hand. That is how come there. But if you can see some nurses, some midwives who are really into it because it's their passion.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that one too is a problem. So I am just praying for the day where we will get an abundance of jobs, so that all those people who are into research, who do not really have the passion per se for research, will just go away and then leave us in it.
So do your work, right?
Yeah, so that those who are in there really because they love research will be able to now do very good work and apply for funding and get much more funding, so that we'll be able to help improve upon the agriculture base of our countries.
Wow. So, do you have plans of going back to Ghana to settle permanently as a researcher?
Yes, I have plans on going back to Ghana.
But with the lack of funding.
Yes, with the lack of funding, it is through the same lack of funding that Dr. Nyadanu too, and then Professor Kuma, they took me under their wings, and then they trained me. They were still, even though it is virtually, it is looking like non-existent. It is not actually non-existent. It happens, but you need to really work for it. You know, Dr. Nyadanu, Professor Kuma, they really work. They work. So because they work, they are able to produce very good papers. And then once you write for funding, you know, when you publish in these top journals, and then you write for funding, there's 3 out of 5 chance that you could get it.
You get.
Yeah, so it is all about your work. Dr. Nyadanu was always telling me this thing. It's all about your work. The data that you come out with. That is what is important. So I have plans on going back to Ghana, but you know that the good book, the Bible tells us that a house that is built on a shaky foundation will not last.
Yeah.
I need to lay down the very good roots before I can go back. So, but as for going back to I love my country. I love Ghana. I love Gobe. I love Gobe, and I love my mom's food. So yeah. I would love to go back to Ghana. So I have that in mind. I'm not going to stay here forever and then enrich the research base of this place without going back. No, I have plans on going back. That's why we are part of this network. We are coming on board. We are bringing others on board right now. Desmond is there. Bismarck is there. Tariq, they are all there. Mamia Joa, we are trying to put everyone together. Portia, they are all in there. So I will go back and then our network will thrive.
All of them.
We have one very good student, Madam Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer Abogum. She's really good. One of my most brilliant students, female student that I've ever met. She's also there. She's part of us.
Wow, great. And Lily also says, please, we need you home.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with you, Lily. Yes, we really do need him home. Yeah, it's been great having you here. And, you know, we've gone past an hour. And we didn't even see it because it has been so insightful and fun as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Albert Owusu Kwarteng. What will be your final words to us?
Okay. Thank you, Madam Teacher, for having me.
That Anabosu says, okay, yes, alumnus lab Goben.
Yeah. People, we love Goben, especially those of us who were at the Continental Hall or the Queen's Hall. You know, there's a competition between Queens and then Continental. Yeah, because the Conti Gobe is by Ajoa, Sister Ajoa. So we want to find out which one is best. Those of us who are at the Continental or Unity Hall will say Ajoa.
We the Domites, we don't eat Gobe.
And that's what you say, but you guys.
Oh,
you guys, you go to either Queens or Kunti to buy Gobe. We see you all the time. Yes. So yeah, I would say that folks, plant biotechnology is really interesting, and you know that there's a huge problem, like I showed with my earlier slides. We need to solve that problem because that problem is not going to go by itself. It is not going to go through prayer or through magic. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. The designer has given us our faculty. We must use it. So the pioneers of plant science, plant biotechnology have shown us that there's a way. It's not that we have a problem, so we should fold our arms in despair and say that there's nothing that we can do about it. We can actually do something about it, as I've shown over here with my slides. And then we can actually do something about it. For instance, let me just show you this one very quick. You know, recently in Asia, no, I would say in the recent past, most of them were having blindness. And then they realized that it was due to the kind of rice that they were eating. Yes, because the rice was lacking vitamin A. And I know, Tisha, you would prefer to go for this kind of plain or what you call white rice. But this white rice, nutritionally, it is not having any vitamin A content. Yeah, so if you don't get vitamin A from any other source, there's a high propensity that you are going to go blind.
Wow.
If this is your major food, your only food, like in China, in Asia, this is rice is mainly their major staple food. So they realized that it was due to the rice. Plant scientists realized that due to the rice. So what did they do? They had to now find a way of inculcating vitamin A into the rice. But Tisha, the problem is that when you go to the market and you see this kind of rice, you wouldn't buy. You want the green one because of the white one. But nutritionally, it is not having any vitamin A. But you see, this plant that we use as an ornamental plant, we call the daffodil plant. It is having very high vitamin A in the flower. So plant biotechnologies, we isolated, like I told you, it's just the DNA. The DNA that is coding for that protein, that vitamin A protein, and we inserted it into the rice. And now almost all of those in the Asian regions, this is the kind of rice that they eat. So now the children are not going blind anymore because they are getting vitamin A. So folks, this is interesting. I'm sure if we join our hands together, we can also have some huge revolutions like this and solve real pertinent problems that are affecting the society as a whole. So I'm encouraging all of us, not all, but those who are interested in research in plants or in plants or food, I would say food, to come and join us. So that I know it's a very difficult journey, but hey, people have done it, so we can also do it. Wow. Though it's very difficult, we can also do it.
Thank you. But before we go, I think Ibrahim asked, but I'm sure you didn't answer. Edwin is asking again. Albert, can you please highlight your PhD research?
Okay. So yeah. So this is my research focus. Now I have this animation to say it. Like you see, Tisha, I was saying that everything is about DNA. Yes, but here you see, the DNA is saying that we should have this beautiful madam over here. But we came here and we saw this gentleman. This is just an oversimplification. I'm doing what we call plant epigenetics. But even though the DNA is saying we should have this beautiful madam, we are having this nice gentleman over here. But you come here, like I was saying, that the only way that this thing could happen is when there's a change to the DNA. Let's say this G changes to a T, so that it reshuffles the genetic mechanism. But here is the case whereby we go there and we see that there's no change over here. Like this, what we call epigenetics, there's no change. But still, I'm just using this as an example. We can let's use this madam as long hair, but we are having short hair. Let's say this one is also another madam, but we are having a short hair. But we go to the genes and we realize that no, this young man inherited the long hair from the mother. So why is she not expressing the long hair, but it is rather expressing short hair, even though the DNA says otherwise? So if we are not able to explain that with DNA, we call that epigenetics. It means that there are some modifications on the genes or on the DNA. There's some slight modifications. There are many. We have histone modification, we have methylation, we have acetylation. We have so many, but I will not go into it because I will not want to bore listeners, because it's been a while since you've been following me. So all of these combine to ensure that what it got from the mother is not expressed. So when you come over here, let's say this is the ancestor. The ancestor is having red and white. It decides to give its red to the offspring. That is good, and they are being expressed. The ancestor gave its red. But when the offspring were also producing, they didn't give any of what they got from the grandfather. They are now giving things which are different. But we go to the DNA level and we see that there's no change. So then what is happening? What is happening? The designer is saying that it should be like this. When I say designer, I mean God, Allah. He's saying that it should be like this. But we are seeing a difference. We are seeing green and yellow. And it happens that when this one is also producing, they do not even produce anything that they inherited. They now maintain the green and yellow. And we call those things epigenetic changes. So that is what I am doing right now. So what I'm doing right now is to study how these changes help wheat. You know that you see the field of wheat over here. But they have been engulfed with wheat. We have weeds. These weeds, or in French you say l'herbe. The herbs over here, they are fighting with these weeds for the same nutrients. So how is it that even though there are weeds over here, the wheat is still able to perform better? Yes. So how epigenetic changes help this wheat to be able to perform better under this wheat stress? So that is what I'm doing. So I'm moving away a step further from the genetic level, even though I'll still be working on genetics. But if I see that the changes are not due to genetics, then I look at the epigenetics. So I look at the factors that are happening over there.
Wow.
Yes. So that is what I'm doing. That is my research focus now.
Wow.
Yes.
And so far, how is it going? Have you found some of the factors causing these changes?
Yes. Yes.
Not yet.
Yes. So far,
That's confidential.
I found some factors, but I can't share.
Yeah,
I can't share them. But my papers, when my papers come out, I'll share some of them with you. And any of the beautiful folk watching me today, if you want, when my papers come out, you can just send me an email. You can contact me afterwards, and I will share. I will give you my email, and then we can share some of them, because this is information that cannot go out.
We hope it will be in the language that you will now understand.
Yeah, for scientific publications, even the ones that we have in France, it is still in English. So it is in a language that we all understand.
You're talking about the terms,
Okay, the terminologies. If you do not understand any terminology, just send me a message, and then I will make it.
Maybe we will invite you here to come and share with us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for.
I'm sure there's no other question for you, so I would like to say thank you once again for the time. I know for a PhD researcher, sharing 1.5 hours with us is, it's very big, and we do appreciate that. And thank you so much, viewers, for staying tuned to today's episode. If you are new here, please do subscribe and also watch the conversation with other researchers. And see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye to everyone.